thistle, morning glory, wild radish. You can't have any competition for moisture, especially this time of the year.
So some of these vines are really old.
Well, this is my technique. I got a little different philosophy than most people. I work the vineyard for the vine's health. What the vine gives me is how I treat the vine. So, yeah, these vines look like they're 40, 50 years old, but I planted them in '96, so they're 16 years old now.
Oh, wine's beautiful.
So, but I tried to build a more silky, velvety elegance into the varietal.
You did it.
And it's I've been working on this technique since the early mid-70s, trying to build this. And the clone that I've got is an old clone that the Budwood came from up in Amador County, and I grafted it onto St. George. And then in the winter of '96, we planted it.
Well, Zin's hard to ripen properly.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of wineries are kind of putting it to the side and going for more of the Rhones and Bordeaux. There's nothing wrong with that. Zinfandel is like Pinot Noir. It's a tough booger to master. It doesn't usually do what you want it to do. It usually sticks with some residual sugar. Like the one I made this year, it stuck and it just started taking off about 6 weeks ago, and it's going to ferment out dry. But that's Zinfandel. You've got to make sure that when you do have residual sugar in there, you're prone to bacterial spoilage, so you got to keep on top of it.
Yeah, this is quite dry.
It's dry. It's very fruit forward.
Yeah.
There's no residual left in that. You're tasting a lot of forward fruit.
But your mom and dad were in this business across the street, right?
Yeah, I started with my grandfather.
Your grandfather? How many years ago?
Frank Pizzetti. Well, he bought that property in 1917, and then he.
So we're talking almost 100 years on the property over there.
Yeah. And this used to be part of the property. And then when they built the highway here in 1968, it kind of split this side off. And when I got married in '72, I bought this piece from my uncle, and it was 4.5 acres, and I never left. It was just all cattle land. We raised cattle and barley on it. So there was nothing here. I was the only one in this canyon here. And then now you see it's built up all around us.
You make a terrific wine. How did you learn how to do that?
Self-taught.
Self-taught. Did you work with your mom and dad?
Well, I started, it's my uncle, and my grandfather, my dad, and my cousins, but I was the only one that stuck it out. Everybody else left.
And somebody told me your mom was actually born on this property.
Yeah, she was born over there.
In a pump house.
Well, it's now the pump house. It was a little cabin, yeah.
That's amazing. So Italian people came here first to this valley?
There was a lot of Swiss here too, a lot of Mennonites. I think Mennonites were the first ones to come here, and then the Italians kind of meandered after them, but not too far after them. But there was a lot of Swiss on the coast too, and this area looks pretty much like the area that they left in Italy. And they left Italy for greener pastures, so to speak, because life was tough over there. It was hard to make a living, and they came over here, and it was a piece of cake. Even though the Depression hit, they were, in tall cotton because this was more than they expected.
And it was prohibition.
It was prohibition.
But of course, there were the churches,
right?
And there were didn't people make old barrels that you'd put the grape juice in, and you'd sell the grape juice.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Ferment.
He planted the vineyard because then he sold the grapes to private families to make wine, and then after repeal, that need wasn't as prevalent. You go to the store and buy your vino. So he says, well, hell, I'm going to do it this. So he started the winery in '34, bonded the winery in '34, and it was a bulk outfit like everybody was back in those days. We sold it in barrels and gallon jugs. You bought your own bottles, you filled it up, and then things evolved, things changed, and like I said, I can remember when Mr. Brendel came down. He worked for the University of Davis, and the original vineyard was planted on its own cuttings, So after about 35 years, phylloxera set in, and so the second replant was all on St. George, and I can remember the conversations. I was only a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, but I remember Mr. Brendel and my grandfather sitting down talking about replanting the vineyard of St. George. And,
well, why Zinfandel? I mean, there's, you know, the higher value grapes. A lot of people went to
Zinfandel was transported from the East Coast because most of the immigrants, it made a terrific jug wine. A terrific jug wine. That was the backbone of the jug industry.
But why did you do it?
Because I love the aromatics of it. I love the. It's kind of like a woman. You don't know what the hell it's going to do, and that's the challenge. And it's just tough to make as Pinot Noir. I mean, it's always giving you fits. And last year, because of the way the season was, you know, I lost quite a bit of fruit to bunch rot, and like most of the wineries around here, a lot of them didn't harvest. You know, the ones who did pick, you know, afterwards was very select pick. But the wines in 11 that I've tasted are absolutely phenomenal.
Well, you're making a great wine, and I want to thank you very much for taking the time to spend with us to do this. So, if you folks out there want to buy a really good Zin Alley, and we'll put the website up for you so that you can give Frank a call and perhaps buy some of his wine, because it's really good. Thank you, Frank.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
Okay.
Gotcha.